Hello students, hope all of you are doing fine. So today we will be talking on this chapter reproductive health from class 12 biology. So when we talk about reproductive health, we should always know that now a huge emphasis is given on this particular field of reproductive health. Okay, so now if we see that whenever we talk about the World Health Organization, reproductive health, it means the total well-being in all aspects of reproduction, be it physical, emotional, behavioral and social. Okay, so therefore a society with people having physically and functionally normal reproductive organs and normal emotional and behavioral interactions among them in all sex-related aspects might be called reproductively healthy. Alright, so that is what we term as reproductively healthy. Now, what are the problems and strategies that we come across in the reproductive health? First and foremost, what we come across is called as family planning, which is the social goal. Okay, so which was initiated in 1951. So everyone talked about family planning. So now it has been taken under the popular name as reproductive and child health care. Okay, so there is a awareness that is being created in the various reproduction related aspects and providing facilities and support for building a reproductively healthy society. These are the major tasks that is there for the reproductive and child health care. There are audio visuals which are there. There are various awareness camps that is there. Parents, close relatives, teachers, everyone plays a major role. Moreover, sex education also has been introduced as a chapter or in the course curriculum. Okay, now the proper information about reproductive organ, adolescence, the related changes, safe and hygienic sexual practices, sexually transmitted diseases, all these are included. So proper information should be there. So now AIDS is AIDS is also there. That is very it's spreading. It's a very common way. Okay, now it is important for us to educate people. What is the marriageable age group? What is the time that a person should be available for the childbirth, or between one birth to the second birth of a child? Okay, so care of pregnant women, postnatal care, so importance of breastfeeding, that is also there, equal opportunities for male and female, etc. So everything is given importance. Moreover, there are awareness problems due to uncontrolled population growth, social evils like sex abuse and sex-related crimes. All these needs to be created to enable people to think and take necessary steps to prevent them and thereby build up socially responsible and healthy society. Okay, there is successful implementation of various action plans to attain reproductive health. Okay, so herein what happens, so reproductive related issues, whatever is there, they are given medical assistance like pregnancy, delivery, STDs, abortions, contraceptions, menstrual problems, all these things. Okay, then implementation of better techniques and new strategies from time to time, which is again required for efficient care and assistance to the people. Now there is a ban on amniocentesis. So what is amniocentesis? Amniocentesis is taking out the fluid or amniotic fluid from the fetal cell, which will contain the fetal cell, and you go in for the determination. So you can go ahead for determination whether the fetus is healthy or not. But if you are going to determine the gender of the fetus, that is illegal. Okay, so that because it is causing female infanticide, so that is why it is illegal. Okay, now better awareness about sex related matters increase the number of medically assisted deliveries and better postnatal care, leading to the decrease in the maternal and infant mortality rate. It increases the number of couples with small families, better detection and cure of STDs, and overall increase the medical facilities for sex related problems, etc. Now next, coming to the population stabilization and birth control. So it is very much important for us to stabilize the population because it is rapidly increasing. So we can see that there is a rapid increase of 6 billions from 2000 to 7.2 billions in 2011. So there is a rapid increase. So a rapid decline in the death rate, which is the maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate, as well as an increase in the number of people in reproducible age. They are probably the reasons. Okay, now through our reproductive child health program, though we could bring down the population growth rate, so it was very, very marginal. Okay, and why should we bring the population under control? Because if the population is increasing at a very high rate, we will have lack of food, shelter, clothing, space, everything. Now, the most important step to overcome this problem is to motivate smaller families by using various contraceptive methods. Okay, so there are slogans like Hum Do Hamare Do, or presently it is Hum Do Hamare Ek. And even binding the marriageable age, 18 for females and 21 for males. Okay, and again usage of contraceptive methods which will prevent unwanted pregnancies. So all these things. So there are various ways of using contraceptives. We have female contraceptives as well as male contraceptives. So there are various methods. We can have a natural or a traditional method, barrier, IUDs, oral contraceptive, injectables, implants, surgical methods. So there are numerous methods. Now coming to one by one the methods. First, coming to the natural method. What is natural method? So in the natural method there are different ways. First and foremost is periodic abstinence. So what is periodic abstinence? It is one method in which couples avoid or abstain from coitus from day 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle. That is when the ovulation is taking place. They are not going ahead with any coitus. Okay, so this will reduce the chance of fertilization. Okay, so obviously when I talk about natural methods, they are quite safe. Okay, thereby by abstaining from coitus during this period, conception could be prevented. Second is withdrawal or coitus interrupts. So what happens? The male partner would withdraw his penis from the vagina before the ejaculation to avoid any kind of insemination. Then we have lactational amenorrhea. What is lactational amenorrhea? That is absence of menstruation. So if there is during lactation there is an absence of menstruation. So absence of menstruation, this is a method which is based on the fact that ovulation and thereby the cycle do not occur during the period of intense lactation following the parturition. Now what happens? The feeding mothers, they are able to take care of the child fully. So there are chances of conception which is nil during this period. Okay. So however, this lactation amenorrhea is only for 6 months of a time, and no medicines or devices are used in these methods. So the side effects are nil. Chances of failure though of this method is also very, very high. It's a chance matter. Second, coming to the barrier method. So you're causing some kind of barriers. Okay, So now how are you making the barriers? By using condoms or diaphragms or cervical caps, walls, and all those things. So condoms are the barriers. They are made up of thin rubber or latex sheet. Okay, so it will cover the penis in the male or the vagina or the cervix area of the female, and just before the coitus, so that the ejaculated semen would not enter into the female reproductive system. This can prevent conception. Like Nirod, it is a popular brand of condoms in the males. So use of condoms have increased in the recent days, and it has also protected from the STIs, that is sexually transmitted infections, and AIDS. Now both male and female condoms are disposable and can be self-inserted, and thereby gives privacy. Diaphragms, cervical caps, walls, they are also barriers which are made out of rubber. Okay, and that also will cover the cervix during the coitus. Now they prevent conception by blocking the entry of sperm through the conception through the cervix. They are useful or reusable. Spermicidal creams, jellies, they are also used. Okay. Next, another method is intrauterine devices, that is the IUDs. Okay, so what is IUDs? These are devices which is inserted by doctor or expert nurses through the vagina. Now these IUDs, they are presently available as non-medicated IUDs like LEEPs, loops, then copper T, copper 7, multi-load 375, then hormone releasing IUDs are there, which is Progestasert, LNG20, all these things. So the IUDs, it will increase the phagocytosis of the sperm. So as soon as the sperm enters, it will increase the phagocytosis of the sperm within the uterus. And now the copper ions which will suppress the motility of the sperm, because we know the sperm to get fertilized, it should have a good mobility and motility. So it will be affected. One is affecting phagocytosis, it becomes motile, and then after that mobility is being affected by copper. Okay. Then the hormones releasing IUDs, in addition, they will make the uterus unsustainable for implantation and the cervix hostile to sperm. So the IUDs are ideal contraceptives for female who want to delay pregnancy or space children. It is most widely accepted methods of contraception. So this is very commonly used. Next, we have oral administration. Oral administration of progesterone or a mixture of progesterone and estrogen. So they are in the form of pills which was taken around for 21 days. After a gap of 7 days, that is during menstruation, again it's taken for 21 days. Okay. So they will inhibit ovulation and implantation as well. Okay. So pills, they are effective with lesser side effect and are well accepted by females. Saheli is a very common very common pill that we have. Okay, so it is once a week pill with very few side effects and high contraceptive tissue. Now progesterone, it can alone or in combination with estrogen, it can go ahead and it can terminate the pregnancy, or it will not allow any kind of pregnancy to happen, any kind of implants. Okay, so now the administered progesterone or progesterone estrogen combination or IUDs within 72 hours of coitus, this also have been found as an emergency contraceptive. Then finally we have the sterilization method. So this is a terminal method. So if they have decided no, we are not going to have any more babies, they go into this sterilization method. In this case, the vas deferens are cut or tied up in loops, or in the females that is a tubectomy. So in males it is known as the vasectomy, and Tubectomy, what we have is cutting down the tube or the fallopian tube and tying it in loops. Okay, so this is tubectomy, and vasectomy that is happening. So no doubt that there can be ill effects of nausea, abdominal pain, breakthrough bleeding, irregular menstruation. All this, if you have all these things, you should not ignore it. You should go and consult a doctor. Okay, next, there is a medical termination of pregnancy. So why do we go ahead for medical termination of pregnancies? Medical terminations of pregnancy is already a point of a debate. Okay, Government of India legalized medical termination of pregnancy in 1971 with some strict conditions. What are the conditions? Okay, female feticide, it is not legal. Okay, it is illegal. But medical termination of pregnancy is accepted in case of intercourse or failure of contraceptive usage, or rapes, or in case wherein it is essential. Otherwise it will be harm for both mother and the fetus. So again, that there also one can go for the medical termination of pregnancy. So the medical termination of pregnancy is good within in the first trimester, that is 12 weeks of pregnancy. Second trimester onwards, it will become more risk. Okay, it will become riskier. One disturbing trend observed is that majority of MTPs are performed illegally and by unqualified quacks, which are not only unsafe but also fatal too. Another dangerous trend is the misuse of amniocentesis to determine sex of the unborn child. So all these things are happening. So these practices should be avoided because they are dangerous for both mother and the fetus. Okay, now we coming to the next, sexually transmitted infections. Okay, so there are various sexually transmitted infections that are happening. Okay, so sexually transmitted infections or venereal diseases or reproductive tract infections, so all these are there. Okay, we have gonorrhea, syphilis, genital herpes, chlamydiasis, genital warts, and all this, hepatitis B, all those have come up in the recent years. Okay, so now some of the infections like hepatitis B and HIV, they can be transmitted through injecting needles, surgical instruments, etc. as well, transfusion of blood, etc. Now, except hepatitis B and genital herpes and HIV, other diseases are completely curable if it is detected in the early stage. So early symptoms would be some kind of itching would be there, fluid discharge, there might be slight pain, swelling in the genital regions. So all these are there. So infected females may often be asymptomatic and hence may remain undetected for a long time. Okay. So here also the STS, they deter the infected person from being for going for timely detection and proper treatment. Okay, so now this could lead to complications later, which will include pelvic infection diseases, abortions, stillbirths, ectopic pregnancies. So all these things can happen. Okay, so now when one should be very free of these infections by following some methods. What are the methods that needs to be followed to be safe? Avoid sex with unknown persons or multiple partners. Okay, always try to use condoms during coitus, and in case of doubt, one should go to a qualified doctor for early detection and get complete treatment if diagnosed with infection. Okay, next coming to infertility. What is infertility? Infertility is that condition where one cannot give birth to a baby. So a large couples in India are infertile. They are unable to produce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation. So what are the various reasons for that? This may be there are many reasons. It can be physical, it can be congenital diseases, if any, congenital, drugs, immunological, and even psychological issues may be there. So wherever there is a correction which is there, so it can be corrected. So there are specialized healthcare unit, that is infertility clinics are there, which will go ahead and diagnose what is the issue of this infertility. So now there is assisted reproductive technology is there, assisted reproductive technology, where the couples would be assisted to have children through a certain technique. So one is in vitro fertilization. What is in vitro fertilization? In vitro fertilization is followed by embryo transfer. So this method is popularly known as test tube baby. So it is something which is known as test tube baby, wherein the ova from the wife and the sperm from the husband, they are collected and they are induced to form zygote under stimulated conditions in the laboratory. So they are grown in the laboratory. Now this zygote or the early embryo with 8 blastomere, it might be implanted into the fallopian tube, which is known as ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. And embryos more than 8 blastomeres, they will be transferred into the uterus, which is IUT, intrauterine transfer. So this will go ahead and there is a complete fertilization that is taking place. There is a complete growth that is taking place. Now embryos formed by in vivo fertilization also can be used for such transfer to assist those females who cannot conceive. So those females who cannot conceive, they go in for in vivo fertilization, which is fusion of gametes within the female. Now there is a transfer of ovum collected from the donor into a fallopian tube, and another female cannot produce one, but can provide suitable environment for fertilization. So in this situation, what is happening? It is going in for intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So in this method, what is happening? So it is a specialized process wherein to form an embryo in the laboratory in which the sperm is directly injected into the ovum. Now infertility cases, either due to inability of male partner to inseminate the female or due to low sperm counts in ejaculates, could be corrected by artificial insemination. So in this technique, what has happened? Semen either from the husband or a healthy donor is artificially introduced into the vagina of the uterus. So this is IUI, that is intrauterine insemination. So there are so many options that we can go ahead by correcting the infertility. So it is always it permits legal adoption is always a good point, because there are so many children who are motherless. So that is one of the best option that can be there. As everyone would like to enjoy parenthood. So that's it. Thank you.